What ties does Ripple have to the US Federal Reserve and government? I want to go ahead and investigate those relationships today, provide you with all the evidence, and let you decide whether XRP and RPL will actually be the cryptocurrency of America. Let's jump right in and get started. According to Edward Farino, the Federal Reserve makes real-time reference to Ripple's cross-border transfers. The U.S. path to speedier payments is a paper known as XRP. In fact, this text made reference to this. That's what was said. One tool that enables providers to make cross-border payments in real time is called Ripple. Today, cross-border payments with limited visibility and status fees typically settle in 2 to 4 days. Ripple provides real-time settlement, fee certainty, and complete insight into payment status. I think this was around 2017. July 2017, indeed. For your information, the document I'm reading today states Federal Reserve Task Force. Ripple increased cross-border transparency speed. Ripple's potential to support the next generation of cross-border payments was highlighted in the Federal Reserve's Quicker Payments Task Force Action Plan, which was unveiled today after 2 years of work. A diverse group of 320 stakeholders, including banks, regulators, and end-user technology businesses, formed the task force in 2015 after the Fed identified the need to promote improvements in payments. Alright, let me show you that report. You can actually look through this, which is the final report, part 1, of course. The amount of information is enormous. I want to quickly scroll to the bottom of this article, since I believe there is some interesting information there. However, I'll just go ahead and show you who is on here, okay? Oh, it has some information on which countries are transitioning to speedier payments. Who were? This is a list of all the companies that are involved. Alright. This is the task force roster for speedier payments. I realize I've discussed this a lot, but a lot of new individuals are joining the conversation. I believe that discussing these topics is crucial. Simply said, I want you to take a look at some of these businesses, banks, and organizations because I have never seen such a remarkable bunch come together. We have a variety of banks here, you know. Natia is among us. In America, Natia is a form of payment. Of course, there are numerous credit union banks in this area, including US Bank, Suncoast Credit Union, and Ripple. ACI is a major Ripple partner worldwide. Alright. Just so you know, there are a lot of Ripple partners here. Going down CGI, I had, made a video saying they process $20 to $21 trillion a day, and I believe this is where it may have begun. Just bank after bank, business after business, Citibank, the biggest bank, one of the biggest banks in the world. However, all I see here is a single blockchain infrastructure provider. Currently, IBM is collaborating with you. Received an IRC advisory from JP Morgan. It's a collective. If you didn't need what the blockchain infrastructure firm had to offer, why would you have invited them? I simply found this to be really intriguing. This is your Visa. I believe MasterCard is also involved in this. And the list is amazing, isn't it? Just so you know, you can sort of cover this by clicking on the Find Page button and then clicking on Ripple once again. Zagoni Ryan. I simply wish to demonstrate that to you. So here you are. We'll release this. He confirms that Ripple and the Federal Reserve have worked together to update the domestic payments document. Ripple has partnered with central institutions such as the Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, and the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority to update domestic payments more quickly. It's noteworthy to note that Ripple has collaborated with the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority and the Bank of England in addition, as the Federal Reserve, to help them expedite their domestic payments. Since we frequently discuss digital currency issued by central banks, don't we? Indeed, there are two components to that as well. You mean the wholesale portion from central bank to bank? It might be cross-border. And the second portion is customers and the retail menu. The U.S. Federal Reserve's David and Ando Fatu are then shown here. Accordingly, the man is employed by the U.S. Federal Reserve. The Fed was unable to assign the settlement to Ripple or any other third party. Allow me to play this now. We can discuss it. In other words, how can you trust the Fed to make the reservation? As I mentioned earlier, my answer is that you shouldn't anticipate the Fed to steal your money. The Fed won't tamper if it had the ability to print all the money at once. We have this large spreadsheet, you know. The Fed is the only entity in charge of the blockchain, if you will. Additionally, if you're willing to assign responsibility to a third party, it's really affordable, much less expensive than Bitcoin. Of course, the drawbacks of all of that are that some people might legitimately think that they would prefer not to have the Fed handle the payment processing. Assume, for example, that the Fed will probably place certain KYC limits on some purchases. Some of the purchases you might want to make might not be processed by them. It was then that I replied, well, you know, we could take the idea a step further if we wanted to. I'm not suggesting that this will ever happen, but theoretically, you could envision a Fedcoin, not Fedwire for everyone, where the Fed would just issue these Bitcoin-like items and maintain a par exchange rate with the US dollar. The volatility of the currency rate would be eliminated. However, they may assign the task of clearing these payments to a third party, a protocol similar to Ripple, or even Bitcoin. We may, after all, assign the processing duty. These computerized Fedcoin payouts to miners, you know. The concept would be, so quickly, Trump, hold on, you got on Twitter, let me see, I can find it American crypto tokens, Trump tax-free, and I'd like to draw attention to a particular graphic that ought to contain this information. We'll see. Alright, so when we talk about US cryptocurrency, it doesn't include all of them, but XRP, HBR, and Albrand are among them. I believe someone also mentioned that Solana is based in the US, but of all these tokens, two of them, HBR and XRP, are known to work with digital currency issued by central banks. Since America, or at least the Trump administration, opposes central bank digital money, I would assume that you could have a system. Therefore, if you are going to approach either of these two businesses and say, hey, we want to create a stable coin on your network for America, or, we want to create some type of whatever it is, I'm not sure, However, they would visit these businesses. Correct. Therefore, your chances of choosing the correct one are actually 1 in 2 or 1 in 4. And you may have a good chance of becoming the cryptocurrency that is utilized all over the world if you own each of these. Additionally, there is some additional material available here. However, I believe there is a lot of information here that I discussed with you on the Federal Reserve's Exploding FedNow service for Ripple 2025. The ISO standard is used by xrp+ripple. Approximately 25% of financial institutions stated that they will not use a Ripple real-time payment strategy until FedNow is deployed. I'm currently working on a video on FedNow, and when we fully implement it, I'll walk you through and teach you everything there is to know about it. However, FedNow is an American quick payment system. It's finished. It has already been completed. They used a lot of the data from their task force on speedier payments into FedNow. And voila, the system is operational, allowing you to use cryptocurrency on those rails and make payments instantly.